The Own Your Intuitive podcast is for the creatives, spiritual entrepreneurs, and light workers in the world. The shining ones who have been told to dim their light and stop believing in magic. I say screw that. The time to rise is now. To bring your gifts out into the world in a big way, creating a business that feeds your soul and your bank account. You are a magical being with the potential to change the world, one human at a time. The time for you to own your intuitive is now. Welcome everybody to the Own Your Intuitive podcast. I'm Tamara Arnold, and I am beyond excited to talk to you today about the Heart Chakra, the very energy center that brings us life. You know, as a personal trainer for 9 years, I understand the importance of the heart. When the heartbeat stops, we stop. And so when you think about the heart from the level of even that capacity, I mean, it's the size of your fist, tiny little thing, yet it encompasses so much energy, so much life force, so much opportunity for us to expand our frequency, expand our vibration, to share our gifts with the world. The heart is a pretty miraculous energy floor. And so without further ado, I'm going to share even more about it. And what's really powerful to note is that it's being shaken up pretty fierce with what is going on in the world with COVID-19. And I'll share how that might be happening in a way that you can help restore it back to its original state, which is coherence. That's what it wants to be in, is coherence from your heart and your brain. It's super valuable, super important. So here's what I know. Everything that you were or were not prior to COVID-19 is going to present itself in your heart chakra in some way, in some form. There's no way that we can get around it. So we might as well just have as much information as we possibly can so that we can honor the discomfort, honor whatever happened to upset it or distort it or shift the frequency of it or cause any ripples. So here's the most important piece to know about your heart chakra, and that is how you breathe is how your heart chakra is functioning. And so if you have noticed that you hold your breath a lot, and maybe you weren't someone to hold your breath, and this is where, you know, the coronavirus and COVID-19 may be affecting you. If you were not somebody who held your breath previously, but you notice you're doing it now, you're going into protection, you're going into safety. You might notice that you hold your breath when you're out in public more because you're afraid of inhaling, you're protecting your lungs, all sorts of things could be happening. But when you're holding your breath, you are pausing energetic receive and energetic give. It means that you cannot draw in any vibrational frequency, energy, or receives of the universe, and you're not offering them in return. So it's like you just take your entire energy system and you press pause button, so there's no flow in your energy body at all. You may notice that you are an exceptional inhaler. Man, you just want to receive everything that the universe is offering you, bring it all in. Let me get it in. Like a big juicy burger if you eat meat. Like you just want to get that, hands around it, bring me all the good receives. If you're a vegan, this might be a ginormous salad. But you just love it. You just want to get it in. And that is what a deep inhale is. You're like, I will take on money, clients, abundance, a new relationship, bring it to me. But then you might notice that your exhale is really short and really small. And that's where the protection comes in. That's where it doesn't feel safe for you to offer out your energy into the world. And so you kind of keep it contained. You've got all of this energy coming in, but you're not actually being the vessel of flow from the divine. And so you're stymieing it a little bit. You're hoarding it a little bit. And then the opposite one, which could be more presentable during this time as well, is that you have a very shallow inhale, right? I don't know if what is out in the world is not scary or overwhelming or could hurt me. And so I'm going to take a really shallow inhale because I'm not really good at receiving. And then, we're taught not to be selfish or whatever it is that the belief or the story behind it is. And so you take a shallow inhale and then you're like, whoo! I could breathe out for days. I could give no matter what to all the peeps on all the planes and continents of the world. And you're exceptional at giving, but terrible at receiving. That's really unhealthy as well, because you need to be able to fill the bank energetically in order to offer anything of value. Because if you're just exhaling, you're not inhaling and receiving that delightful, energetic frequency in, then you're going to actually tire yourself out and you're going to get exhausted. And what happens is the resistance, I always want to say distraction, but that's the root chakra resistance. The resistance of the heart chakra is martyrdom, is because if you're in a state of martyrdom, it means you're in an imbalance in your heart chakra, so it's out of alignment, and you are caught in a trap of not feeling like you're appreciated, like you're giving too much and nobody helps or supports you. And it often comes from a shallow inhale and a really long exhale. And so if you've ever heard yourself saying, like even during the coronavirus, like I'm doing so much for so many people, I'm bringing all these things, I'm shopping for everybody, I'm doing all of this stuff and nobody's appreciating me, nobody's offering me anything in return. Even if they were in the level of a shallow inhale, you wouldn't be able to receive it even if they did. And so what do we do? What do we do when our breath is out of alignment? What do we do when we're not receiving or not giving, or we're completely paused and therefore we're not getting any energetic breath? Well, the first phase is always the awareness. Why is like, okay, great. So now I have this information. I can start to notice in my reality when I'm holding my breath, or when I'm not taking deep inhales, or when I'm having shallow exhales, which will begin to put the puzzle pieces for you together about what is happening in the external world that is causing an internal shift. That is so powerful and it's so important. Another thing that you can be doing to mirror your breath into a beautiful, exceptional inhale and exhale is to just do meditation based solely on the breath. So you will find different ways of breathing. Some is like a circular breath where you're in for 4, out for 4, and you're just getting into kind of coaxing and training the heart to go back into coherence. It could be that you are becoming even more aware as to why it was out in the first place. And this one's a big one. So oftentimes what we don't realize is that we hold energy in our hearts. And if we are feeling exceptionally codependent or responsible for other people in our life, such as like, oh, we've got to make sure the kids are okay right now, they're home from school, we are like homeschooling them, everything falls on us. It's our responsibility to make sure that their homework is done, that they're doing everything right, their beds are made, that they're eaten, that their lunch is done, all of these kinds of things. There's a fine line between setting a strong boundary or feeling responsible for somebody. And the minute you feel responsible for them, you tuck them into your heart. You make their divine receive from spirit go through you, because it feels like you're the one who's responsible for them, not God, universe, or creator, however you call them, up in the sky, right? And so this can happen with your clients, this can happen with your partners, your kids, your parents. It can happen with anyone. You just become hyper responsible or hyper connected to being what they need for you. And the reason or the way that you'll know that your heart is full of other people is 2 ways. One, you'll be thinking about them when you're not even meant to be thinking about them. Like you could be out and celebrating you going for a walk and all you're thinking about is what's happening at home. So that's one indicator that you are tucking them in your heart. But the other indicator is start to notice if people come to you before making their decisions. So if somebody comes to you and they're like, should I do this? Should I not? Is this a good idea? Is this not? Oftentimes what's happening is, again, we are the channel for our own divine receive. So as spirit's guidance is flowing into us, then we have the opportunity to flow it out of our hearts. Now, if you've taken on the responsibility for somebody else, that receive also goes through your heart chakra. So it's as though spirit is like giving you the information to give to them, if you will. So it's really powerful. It's really impactful to ensure that our heart spaces are not cluttered with other people who we love and we care for, because it's never about love or caring for it. It's like, ooh, I want to make sure that they can create their own relationship with Source Creator. And so with love, I actually take them out of my heart. So one, they can have this exceptional relationship and learn how to forge this pathway of co-creation with Spirit. And it allows you to have space in your heart so that you can actually receive more and offer so much more clarity, so much more opportunity with your give to be in service to them. It's a higher quality give when it's coming from a really full capacity of service, because your heart chakra is nice and clear, because you've kind of kept it open. And so again, these are really, really powerful ways with what's happening in the world. We got this level of safety became unbalanced. And so in that safety being imbalanced, we went into previous patterns of programming that maybe we didn't even realize was present, or that would be activated through what's going on in the world. And so the first awareness is to be like, yes, I'm in this program and pattern. I don't want to be in it anymore. So I have the awareness, and then taking the next feasible steps, whether it's the meditation, whether it's clearing people from your heart, whether it is being in the consciousness of really just noticing, that you want to be in a higher vibrational state, because just the thought alone of choosing to be in a higher vibrational state will align you to a higher vibrational state. Because if people knew that could be easy, I wonder if they would do it. Because oftentimes we feel that we have to respond to the external world. And so from the level of the heart chakra, when somebody's sad, upset, hurting, going through something, we, instead of just offering support, we tend to offer our frequency to them, and we lower ourselves to be in the same state as they are, as opposed to remaining in an elevated state and just feeding a strong auric love frequency to them to rise them into the next version of themselves. So heart chakra is really powerful. It is the capacity to receive. It is the capacity to give with love and safety. It's opportunity to rise your auric field and frequency to the frequency of love through practice, through awareness, through honoring. It is the capacity to offer others this beautiful gift of co-creating with Spirit on their terms, which in turn requires some boundaries to be set so that you aren't feeling responsible for everybody else's decision making and for their choices and what they're doing in their day, which creates freedom for you to really lean in and activate and amplify what your gift is, because I believe we're all born with a piece of stardust in our hearts, in the very heart chakra that we're talking about. And this is our service. This is our purpose. This is our mission. And when we have the capacity to amplify that, everything in our life can change. Our reality changes, our relationships change, and our business change. And that's a powerful place to be in. So that's a little bit about the heart chakra. That's a little bit about what's going on in the heart chakra during, the COVID-19 crisis, and the opportunity to shift to a higher state if you so choose to do so. Now, what is really powerful is choosing to surround yourself with people who have high frequency, who are, people who are clearing out their hearts and creating an auric field that rises us into the next vibrational frequency of our own show-uppery. That's a Tamarism, one of those words. And so I invite you to join a really powerful group of heart-centered co-creators and join us in the Facebook group Rebel Unicorns. I will put the link in the show notes, but you can go to Facebook right now and search Rebel Unicorns. There are 2 questions, and it's interesting because when you're answering those 2 questions, I'm technically just reading what your heart chakra is saying. And so that's why it's super powerful that you answer those 2 questions, so that we're ensuring that everybody that comes into the group is vibrating at a frequency of service. And so that nobody is draining each other in the group, that we are all rising together, because a rising tide lifts all boats. That's the quote. I think I've tried to say it in multiple podcasts. Yay me. And so I look forward to sharing this experience with you guys, talking energy, doing live readings, live meditations, doing whatever we can do within Rebel Unicorns to be a part of this greater energetic shift, to stand in our spiritual gifts, to shine our lights. And so I invite you into that group, and I look forward to spending more time with you. So if you have any questions, please never hesitate to go to Tamara at tamaraarnold.ca, and I will bring to this podcast any questions that you may have, or answer any questions that you have personally that you would just like me to know about. And I look forward to tuning in next week when we talk about the throat chakra, which is my personal favorite. But again, they're all my personal favorite. I have a lot of favorites, and I look forward to talking to you then.